Welcome to this week's Outfitter Tales. Got a good show for you this week, actually. A few things have been happening. First of all, probably introduce the Telford clip. So it's a clip I filmed in a Monsoon a while ago now, which has taken us a long time to get around to doing, but now we've got the boys editing.
Yes.
We're going to bring you that.
Then we have part 2 of my head preparation.
Masterclass.
It's not a masterclass, it's just how I do it.
Blowing brains about.
Yeah, my favourite job in the world.
I'm just going to introduce the new rifle, or one of the new rifles that I've got from Highland Outdoors. So excited to be using that, and then really just...
What have we been up to this week? Really?
Well, perhaps I should explain why I'm keeping a very close... I mean, I've got Zosha here, who I've literally just collected from the vets. She had a tiny little growth on her eye, which she's had for about, on an eyelid, she's had that for about, I don't know, probably 3 years really. And it slowly got bigger and bigger and bigger. And what it's done now is a sort of like a little skin tag type thing just on the inside of her eyelid. And it's been bothering her. So I've just collected her from the vets. She's had it taken off. So they have to cut the eyelid just to take it off. It's a fairly straightforward operation. And then, of course, they've given me the big plastic collar. Absolutely no way on God's earth. The vet said to me...
How long did that last?
It lasted 2 seconds in the vets. They've messed around with it. They've had it on 10 times, several different ways. She's trying to rub her eye now. I've got her home. I've tried 15 different ways. And the longest it's been on is 15 seconds. So I've just got to have to really kind of just keep an eye on her and stop her scratching it, because she's wanting to do that and she'll rip the stitches out. So that's why, bear in mind, I'm slightly distracted because I'm stopping her doing that.
And this week I've mainly been taking out guys on introduction courses. Basically, same old, same old. Obviously, we're now getting towards the end of the doe season here, so that's us pretty much done and dusted for does this year. All the calls figures have been met. Cracking on.
You've been on your own?
All on my own, yeah. So obviously, I missed my partner in crime of last.
No, you didn't miss me.
I never. That. Obviously, last week's show was all about me. Now it's all back to all about Chris.
Yeah. There we go. So coming up, Telford.
Telford clip. Enjoy.
Wind twists, so when we get round, we'll be facing into the wind and hopefully that'll do some luck. Fallow just over the ridge here, down in the bottom, and a lot of them are looking up. We're just going to sneak round this corner and just try and get bottom side of the wind.
Yeah.
And a different angle to them that they're sort of looking at.
Yeah.
Hopefully it works to plan. So we had a group of fallow deer there, and it's a bit tricky really, because the only one that presented itself was a young yearling. a matter of fact, it was right up against a tree. There's footpaths and various things going on in this wood, so you've just got to have your wits about you every second, and that's where the thermals come in again. You know. So there were several in there, like I say, but that was the only one. You probably even see the bullet on the back of the tree.
Yeah.
That was available to sort of safely take, so yeah, good job done.
You get the safe back stuff however you get it.
Yeah, well that's right, yeah, exactly, yeah. As worse as you're going to get rain-wise, but yeah, we've still done the job anyway, so that's good.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that more than I enjoyed actually filming
Obviously, because I wasn't there, was I?
No,
So.
you weren't out. It was down with Karl down in Telford, and it was biblical. Well, you see it on there. It was absolutely biblical. So you're probably glad you weren't there. I was sat in the car. I didn't even.
Is that me doing all the work again?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Self-explanatory. Enjoyed it actually afterwards once I got dried off. But yeah, we were lucky. The weather wasn't too bad when we got into it. But oh god, it was bad. It was bad. Anyway, there we go. Don't whinge.
Yeah. So now we've got
The unboxing.
Unboxing of Chris's new carbon barrel all singing all dancing rifle.
Right, so what we have in here, and this is genuinely, I've never handled these rifles before. The first time I had hands on this rifle, this type and make of rifle, which is proof research, and I know nothing about the rifle at all, was at the show when we were on the stand with the Highland Outdoors guys, who, as you will appreciate now, are supporting us. So now we've taken delivery of some kit, and this is the rifle that I'm going to be using predominantly. So apart from lifting it up at the show, this is the first time I've really had hands on the rifle, and what strikes me straight away is the weight, but yet there is a feeling of real sort of robustness about it. It just comes up beautifully to the shoulder, perfect for me, and I do like this. Everything's just there. You just feel that this is going to be kind of a rifle that you should be able to put tacks through the same hole through from 90,000 metres, and that's the whole ethos behind the rifle. My understanding of it is that it's particularly designed for consistent, accurate shooting. I suppose there's probably military applications, I would imagine, for snipery type stuff. So it should lend itself fairly well to our stalking activities. Standard rail, 15 rail on there, and it's a removable magazine, which I like. I'm not even sure how many rounds in here, but I would say, looking at this, it's probably going to be a 5-shot mag, but we shall see. Nice clip in there. Solid, not a problem with that, so I like that straight away. No danger of that coming out, and it's got something to get hold of, so that looks good. Moderator will be going on the end of her. Calibre 6.5 Creedmoor, full carbon stock, carbon fibre barrel. Again, unfamiliar territory for me this, so this is a genuine field test with a rifle I've never had hands on before. I've never had clients out in the field with one, which is unusual because after 20 years of guiding, I would probably say that I've seen most rifles, to be honest, but this is totally new. I wasn't sort of really quite surprised at the show when I saw the rifle first off on the stand. So it's just totally different. And it isn't until you pick it up, which is hard to describe. You can't really describe to somebody the feel of a rifle, but that just feels. There's an awful lot of thought gone into that. I'll be really keen to get this out. So what I'm going to do with this is, I'll have a look at the bolt actually, it'll be helpful, won't it? So basically, I'm assuming pretty standard bolt operation. Yep, that's nice, that's crisp. Very positive safety catch. Like that. Yeah, pretty standard removal, so that's all nice. Get a little bit of oil on that, but I mean that's lovely and smooth. That's Rolls Royce, and I do like that. I don't like to have to be forcing things. There's a nice little feel there, just as that's locking down. You can feel that, nice and crisp, and a very positive safety catch. Not much danger of knocking that off. Like it. Like it a lot. So what we're going to match this up with is the GPO scope. Another moderator that I'm not familiar with, Swedish. This is the RCC moderator. That's nice and neat. There's a bit of weight to that as well. So that'll be going on the end of the barrel. We'll have a look at that. One thing that we often don't mention about setting up rifles is poor quality mounts is false economy. It's worth spending money on a quality mount, otherwise you're just deluding yourself really. Spend all this money on a scope and then you put an inferior quality mount on it. These are probably some of the best on the market, tier 1. So tier 1 scope mounts. And also I'm actually going back to, we've had this conversation before over on a number of occasions, I'm actually going back to a bipod. We filmed some footage, you'll have seen it possibly or not, but I kept getting the bipod stuck in the binocular harness. So went to the Spartan bipod system, which is an excellent system by the way, and it works for an awful lot of people. And it's very, very good. Rab likes it. I like it actually, but I do prefer this fixed bipod. So I've decided to go back to bipod, but again we're going to go to a different bipod. We're going to tier 1 tactical. So that's the bipod that's going on the scope. So that's just a personal thing. If you want a detachable bipod, Spartan is by far the best, and they've got the long versions and all sorts now, and I know Rab uses them an awful lot. In fact, you use them all the time. It's just for me. It's a personal thing. It's a bit like which car do you like. I'm going to go back to a more traditional bipod, but again a quality one. We mentioned already that I'm going down with Steve. We're going to do some filming, some stalking this weekend. So we've got 2 or 3 days to set this up. So apart from the fact I'm going to be running around after my dog trying not to get to rip the stitches out of an eye, Rab has very kindly volunteered, being press ganged into setting the rifles up. So he's going to set all that up for me this afternoon, tomorrow. We're going to get that all set up and zeroed on the range. So we're actually going to be using that in anger, hopefully, down in Bedfordshire this weekend. So next time I report back on the rifle, I'll probably know a bit more about it and how it performs in the field. I'm really looking forward to that actually. It's unusual to get your hands on something that is completely brand new. When you've been sort of stalking a while, most things you've handled, but this is new to me, so it's quite exciting. So watch this space. What do you think of that then?
I don't know, I'll find out in a few minutes because obviously I need to go and set it all up for you now, don't I?
Yeah, that's the other thing, because I've got another duties and he's good at this sort of thing anyway. So what I'm going to do is Rab's going to put the whole thing up, get it all set up properly. Get the tier 1 mounts on,
everything torqued.
Get the bipod on, and then we'll get it all set off. Because we're off down to Bedfordshire with Steve on Thursday. Got a bit of a round robin, so we're going to be bringing you this probably within the next couple of weeks. Actually, we're going to meet the guys at Highland Outdoor, meet the guys at
Highland Outdoors.
Holland's Country Clothing. Going to have a look at the premises down there on Friday afternoon. We're going to film Friday morning, hopefully Fallow in Yorkshire, and then we're heading off down to Childers to do some filming down there just right at the last few days of the Chinese water deer cull. So Steve and I are disappearing off down there, and you're stopping here working again.
Did you hear that again?
So coming up now is the heads. Yep. Boiling heads.
So obviously the first part was me skinning them off and stuff. This is the mucky, dirty, covered in brains part. Enjoy. Welcome back guys to part 2 of our head preparation feature. So the weather's thawed out eventually from the past few days. So we had temperatures down to -12. It's now sitting about 7 or 8, so all the pipes have defrosted, so we've now got water, so we can carry on conducting our head preparation. Here is one of these Burco boilers, the old, get them in sort of cafes and stuff like that, or industrial cafeterias, just for boiling up the water. What I do though, is place some of this chicken wire in the bottom, just to keep the heads off the plate in the bottom. And a top tip, dishwasher tablets. So that'll get rid of all the grease, it'll break down all the grease and stuff in the heads. I just find that it works a lot easier with this, and there's less mess and less smell as well. So I'll put a couple of them in and then we'll go and fill it up. Right guys, so what I've been doing is waiting for the buckle boiler to get up to the right temperature. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the fallow head in first, because it's the biggest and it will take a longer time to cook. So just to run through the cooking times that I use, so for sort of roe deer size, I put them in for 50 minutes. For smaller stuff, 30 to 40 minutes. Fallow, probably about an hour. And red deer, sometimes up to about an hour, 15 hour, 20. I'll just keep looking at them and see where they look. The one thing that you can do is if you overboil them, all the sort of little platelets in the skull that join together, they'll start separating. And when you're power washing it, things can fall apart, which is not good. So here we go, we'll put the fallow head in now, just start that cooking. So the fallow head's been in for about 20 minutes now, so I've just placed the muntjac heads in as well, ensuring that the antlers are kept out of the water. We do have bits of string there to hold them up if we need to, so we just use these bits of string, but they're sitting there quite well, so we'll see how it goes. Okay guys, here we go. Just my least favourite part of this job is obviously washing the heads off with a power washer. As you can see, fully kitted out and waterproofs, and obviously the hood and everything. Safety glasses, health and safety is always a very important point, because there will be brains and bits of tissue and everything flying everywhere, so get yourself prepared. So just a quick word about our setup. Obviously we've got the power washer, and obviously this is where we do the actual head cleaning itself. This is one of these old joinery mate type tables with the little clamps, so you can actually clamp the head down, stop it flying all over the place. So it's just something that works for us. It doesn't have to work for you, but you will need to hold the head down by some means or another. Okay guys, what I've done here is I've just taken the heads out of the boiler. They've had their time. I'm going to start with the fallow one. So I've just placed the rest of these into water to stop them from drying out as we're processing the other heads. If they dry out, it just makes it a little bit more difficult to get all the meat and stuff off. So just keep them nice and wet. And so as you see, we've got the fallow head out. You can see it's starting to dry off already. So I'm just going to get the power hose on this and start taking off all that skin and stuff from the top. Right guys, so as you can see, the top half's clean, so what I'm going to do now is turn it over and do the underneath, and then I'll work at either side from there. Right, so as you can see, there's still some bits and pieces in there, like the eyeballs and stuff, that are a bit pink, which means it's not done right yet. So, but we've taken most of the stuff off. The eyeballs and everything are still in. All I'm going to do now is stick it back into the boiler for an extra 10 minutes. I need to get myself a level working place. So when we're getting towards the teeth, we just need to be careful, because obviously we need to keep the teeth. A wee bit of brains coming out there because I went in through the eye side. I think what I'm going to do with this one is stick this in for another quick boil as well, just to get the last bits off. As you can see, it's coming up quite clean already. That's the spraying finished, as you can probably see. Bits and pieces all over me. So as you can see, all the heads have been cleaned off. and I've still got the teeth to do. All we do with a knife is basically just use a knife, scrape it all off, like so. This is basically where the tooth has been actually inside the jaw. And then with this end part here, I'm just going to scrape that off. This one's quite an old one. So if you can see that, the end is actually all sealed up. Whereas if we do one of these other ones, well, that's actually a closed cusp one as well. So these are all old animals. So the younger the animal, basically the end part here is sort of hollow because it's still growing. So that's a good way to determine the age of a Chinese water deer. This is the peroxide that we use. Basically you can get it from any sort of hairdresser supply, but there is other stuff out there. 12% volume is probably the maximum we'll be able to get because of people making explosives and stuff out of the purer stuff. There is other stuff on the market that people use. I've never personally used this before, but we've got it here. I'm quite happy with my peroxide. One thing I will say with the peroxide, when you're using the peroxide, if you can, get it in the sun. Get them in the sun after you've painted them. And also, when it's drying, get them into some heat and it'll bring them out a lot whiter. The peroxide here can come in a liquid form as it is now, but it can also come in a cream. And I actually find the cream better, but we're just finishing off all this sort of stuff we've got left over before we buy some more of the cream. You get a lot of the guys who'll cover it in cotton wool and then soak it in the peroxide. I don't find that we need that. I just paint it on with a paintbrush, and we'll show you the results later. Okay guys, what I tend to do is put it into a cup, and we've got a little paintbrush here, and we just use the paintbrush to paint on. Obviously you've got the gloves on because we are working with chemicals, and it does and will turn your skin white. So all we're doing is brushing it all on as much as we can. So we're taking care when we get to the pedicles, but we don't get any onto the actual antlers themselves. As you can see, there's bits and pieces of the brush still on there. It doesn't matter because obviously once it's all been dried off and they've been sitting for a little while, we will then wash it all off again anyway and let it dry. You will be surprised how much the bones themselves actually whiten naturally just because of drying out. And that's basically it. All I'll do is leave that to put it into a nice warm boiler room and let it dry off, and it will go white, I assure you. Here's some that we prepared before, just a few row, but just to show you how white they actually come up. Well guys, that concludes my little introduction to prepping of heads. I know I did it quite quickly and it was all self-filmed, so apologies for that. But if you've got any questions, make sure you put them into the comments and I'll get back to you with the answers. As I said before, and I'll say it again, there's many ways to skin a cat and there's many ways to prep heads. Everyone does it differently. This is the way that I do it and it works for me. So use what you can at your disposal and get them done. So that's quite apt that we're obviously buck season now about to kick off. Yeah. We thought it would be quite a good time to put that out there. Yeah, because a lot of people ask us about it. I mean, we've got a few things that I had a few questions in actually after last week's show, which we will cover coming up. That's it from us this week. As always, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. As I keep saying that, but that is important to us. Don't forget that the Harkeeler offer is still on, 20% off with Holland's Country Clothing. There's a discount code in there where it's going to come. So it's a good night from me. And it's a good night from him.